wonderful being here this afternoon for the awards ceremony for the 6th National Business Model Competition. And I just want to welcome you all here this afternoon. Welcome to our universities, faculties, and staff members, our sponsors, our judges, our coordinators, our awesome student entrepreneurs, and of course, everybody else, our ladies and gentlemen, our media, and all our supporters. So thank you all for being here. So without further ado, what I'm going to start with is have our judges give their comments. Now, before Althea Westmaz comes up, Althea is from JBTC and one of our 3 judges. Althea, can I ask you to come and give us the judges' remarks? Please help us welcome Althea.
Ladies and gentlemen, the judges were impressed, and we don't say that just because it sounds nice. We were really impressed. We were impressed with the overall improvement in the use of the canvas. We saw the participants identify critical hypotheses. We saw the evolution of the MVPs. We saw that you got out of the office, and in your case, the classroom. We saw the market potential of the products and the ideas. We want you to remember that the exercise is intended to help you to arrive at a product market fit and to address real market risks, risks that may affect your potential, the business's potential to scale. And we saw that real efforts were made to address these issues, but we thought that there was a need to look more clearly at in some instances, at the validation process. Validation takes it out of the hypothetical. And in some instances, we saw that the process was still very hypothetical. So questions like, would you, if still keeps it in the hypothetical, still keeps it conceptual, and we wanted it to become more concrete. And the objective, of course, is proof of concept. And the proof of concept happens through sales, through a person's willingness to invest, expressions of interest, contracts. That's the proof of concept. That's what the process is intended to bring forth. And in some instances, that needed some improvement. We saw that there was, in most instances, appropriateness of tests. The testing was appropriate in some instances. We saw that you told us what informed your pivot. Sometimes it was correctly the marketplace that informed your pivot. Sometimes people made use of experts. And that's not always the best way. The best way to inform a pivot is always the market. We saw that there was, in some instances, connectivity between the elements of the canvas, and not enough sometimes. So you spoke to your customer relationships, but you didn't, in some instances, show the impact on your cost structure and the potential impact on your revenue streams. All of that needed to be taken into consideration. What's always important in the whole process is the significance of the problem that you solve, the potential addressable market size as an index of the project's ability to scale. So that will tell you whether there's proper market fit, and the significance of the problem size will tell you whether or not you have a real scalable project. And that's important in the whole process. And the last thing I have to say is that we urge you, as persons in the space, as persons who are helping small businesses to scale, we urge you beyond the canvas to consider your next steps. What happens hereafter? Too often, we see all of this nice thing happening here, but it's not made into a commercially viable product. And we ask you hereafter, what's next? Something to consider.
Thank you very much, Althea. We move on now to our sponsors' remarks. You know, we couldn't do this without our sponsors, without their support, not just their monetary support. That is certainly a big thing, but certainly the support that they give us when it comes to judging, when it comes to providing coaching, when it comes to just the kind of moral support for the business model competition, as well as many of our other programs. So to start us off, I'm going to invite And this one is very personal because IDB Labs is the biggest sponsor for the venture capital program. And from day one, they've been here with us with the National Business Model Competition. So Adriano Lavalle, Chief of Operations, IDB Lab, please join me in welcoming Adriano.
It's been a true pleasure to be part of this competition and to be here this afternoon in the awards presentation. I had the opportunity to be one of the judges on the semifinals yesterday, and I was able to witness Jamaica's Limitless Minds in action. What a talented, brilliant set of young people we saw, who are no doubt going to change Jamaica and the world for the better. Have no doubts. It was a very joyful ride in entrepreneurship. It was an entrepreneurship roller coaster. And I was able to feel the process of making an hypothesis on an identified pain, identifying clearly the underlying assumption, pivot, iterate, and validate in a very vivid way. So that made me think when James Dyson, I don't know if you know who James Dyson is when he wanted to sell the license to the bagless vacuum, no one believed that people will spend a lot of money. And if you've seen how much the Dyson vacuums are, you'll think it's a lot of money to put a vacuum, to pay the money up front, but stop buying the bags later. Years later, the business showed how wrong this assumption was. Well, let me give you the example of Kodak. Kodak developed the digital camera in 1975, the first of its kind, but the CEO refused to develop it further because he saw a threat to the photographic film business that they had. And he thought it was not a priority because he assumed that people wanted to have printed pictures always. So, well, as you know, Kodak filed bankruptcy. And what's the lesson here? Making the wrong assumption can doom you, right? So that's why it's very important, we think. In this competition, what I see is that it's breaking one of the most harmful barriers to non-obvious thinking and innovation. By not questioning assumptions. When this happens, assumptions become facts and habits, and we think they would never change. So what we're doing with this competition is really changing that. With the application of the Canvas business model, we're encouraging and empowering entrepreneurs with the use of tools that will help them in a systematic way to scale up their ideas and be ready for equity investments. That's what we're looking for. So I had a point on agreeing with what Minister Clark said, so let me skip that part. Yeah. And that's why the bank is proud to have a long-standing partnership with DBJ and the impactful work that has been done not only through the National Business Model Competition, but this is setting the stage to reinforce the existing ecosystem which entrepreneurs will thrive. The IDB will continue to support entrepreneurship in Jamaica, particularly through the Jamaica Venture Capital Program, in order to foster a vibrant venture capital ecosystem and increase access to finance for SMEs with high potential for growth. It is with this positive note that I am pleased to extend the best wishes to DBJ, our partners, and especially the students in their respective universities, and good luck to the winner. Thank you.
Thank you, Adriano. Moving on now to our next sponsor, Joanna Banks, the PanJam Investments. Joanna is the Vice President for New Business Development and Strategy. And PanJam has also been a big sponsor. And Joanna has been a judge, except for this year.
I know. You know, as we just said, this is the first time that I have not been a judge for this competition since I joined PanJam 3 years ago. And you know, our schedules at PanJam just have been very, very busy. And I didn't think I would be this disappointed to just be coming into the room only at this point. So I never saw any of yesterday. I didn't get to be a judge in the semifinals. Last year I was a judge in the finals. And it was just, it was amazing. And I'm sure, like everything else, year over year, everything gets better. This is an exciting time to be a Jamaican. It's an exciting time to be an investor like PanJam, and it's even more exciting time to be an entrepreneur. Our economy is strong, interest rates are low, consumer confidence is high. Is there any better set of circumstances for entrepreneurs to thrive in? For those of you who don't know, and I say this every year just because I feel like not many people know what PanJam does, PanJam is an investment holding company founded by Morris Facey. And I was corrected today when I shared this speech with my boss, Stephen Facey, who is his son. He's not a serial entrepreneur, he's the original entrepreneur. So Morris, for his whole life, was dedicated to growing Jamaica. He's no longer with us. And PanJam is probably best known for either our real estate assets or our substantial ownership stake in Sagicor. However, our history is filled with investments in private companies with strong Jamaican brands, good growth potential, and leadership teams that are driven by a strong value system. I say that every year too, because we do not waver on those three characteristics. In my conversations with the judges this year and in years before, it seems that we have had presentations from groups that represent all of these qualities and more. The future is bright. At the same time, for all the success that PanJam has had, our history is also peppered with challenges that come with investing and operating throughout the economic cycle. So, I said the economy is really good right now. It's a good time to be in Jamaica. But at PanJam, we've seen peaks and troughs. I think I'm a little young, so I've kind of only seen one of each, but PanJam has existed through many. And I think there's a big lesson to learn in that. We've weathered these storms by managing our risks while chasing rewards, which I think everyone in here tries to do, is get these returns and these rewards. But this takes patience. PanJam has been around for almost 55 years. And Aristotle once said, patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. The National Business Model Competition is the first step in your journey. So no matter the outcome here today, you are already far ahead of your colleagues who have not had this particular experience. Do not lose this momentum. It is invaluable. But remember that this is a journey with many steps. No one will ever tell you that being an entrepreneur is easy. In fact, it is the entire opposite. And I can tell you for a fact, I am not brave enough to be in your shoes, because it takes a type of courage and bravery to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is exhausting. It demands your attention and requires perseverance. And at the end of the day, your success will not come down to the money you raise or the connections you make. Your success will come from your willingness to outwork everyone else. And the amount of work that I've seen in the 2 years I've been a judge, the amount of work I've heard from that you've all put in for this year is a representation of outworking everyone else. Your success will be defined by your ability to learn from your mistakes, to adjust to changes, and to focus on your goals above all else. Not everyone can do this, but I know all of you are dedicated to your pursuits. If I can leave you with one piece of advice, and I say this one every year too, and I actually really mean this, is I encourage you to thank your coaches, your mentors, your friends, your families, and other loved ones. The path of an entrepreneur can be very lonely and extremely stressful. So our founder at PanJam, Morris Facey, had more than one failed venture during his career. But even today, years after his death, his legacy as one of Jamaica's most, as the original entrepreneur, lives on. Without an adequate support system, your motivation may dim. Surround yourselves with like-minded people who want your success as much as you do, and show them appreciation whenever you can. Look around you. You're in a room full of people and institutions who are committed to see you learn, grow, and prosper. They've been a part of your journey. There are others who have not participated, like myself, but who are happy to take the next steps with you. Take advantage of this opportunity. Talk to as many of us as you can. And if it doesn't happen today, everyone in here knows how to reach PanJam and NCB and Mawson's, etc. That being said, I unfortunately do have to leave, so I won't get to see who the winner is. But I had to come and at least see everything for myself. I wish all of the participants the best of luck going forward. I know there are some real rivalries, particularly after last year. And I can't wait to hear what the outcome is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Joanna. Some wonderful words of wisdom there. And just to underscore something that Joanna mentioned, one of the things about being in a competition like this and being able to interact with people, new people, is that you begin to build your networks. So when you see Joanna on the road, when you see me on the road, when you see Marcia on the road, you can stop that person because that person is now a part of your network. When you see the judges who spoke to you earlier, they're part of your network, and these are the networks you build as you continue to build your businesses. So we move on now to NCB Foundation, and I'm going to invite Carrie-Ann McCarthy-Simmons to come forward and deliver remarks. Please welcome Carrie-Ann.
So it was Simon Sinek, a known leadership guru, who said, "What good is an idea if it remains an idea? Try, experiment, iterate, fail, try again." And that is exactly what you have done here today. In 2014, when the National Business Model Competition began, it was as a direct result of someone or a group of persons deciding to dream big. The dream was not only for themselves, but for Jamaica's future, you, our bright young minds. What we have today is a direct result of how visionary ideas can manifest into greatness. You have shown that you are game changers and you dare to become legendary. Because of who you are and what the National Business Model Competition represents, we at NCB are proud to support such an initiative to strengthen your journey. We continuously endeavor to assist youth in active citizenship and gainful employment while facilitating the nation's civic development. Our support of the National Business Model Competition directly aligns with our foundation's focus on youth leadership and entrepreneurship, as well as education, and as such, it is against this background that we have confirmed our contribution for yet another year. You're supposed to clap me right here. The competition's main goal is to promote entrepreneurship among the students at the university level and to enable these young leaders in our society to begin their business in earnest, coupled with the implementation of cutting-edge practices. This initiative is a testament to the vitality of our young minds in building Jamaica. Over the years, we have seen very innovative ideas coming to the fore, birthing numerous success stories, hence NCB's continued support in this regard. Today, I challenge you to remain focused on your entrepreneurial aspirations, and in doing that, you all will succeed. To fuel your path, always remind yourself that the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who usually do so. That's a part of the legacy that Steve Jobs left. Go out and be relentless in the pursuit of excellence, no matter the challenges or failure, just learn from tomorrow's mistakes. We look forward to a successful year ahead as you all continue to put your best life forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carrie-Ann. Rand Strawn. Is Rand here? Okay, Rand. Rand is Assistant Vice President for Investor Relations at GK Capital. So please join me in welcoming Rand to say a few words.
I am bringing remarks. It's my pleasure on behalf of GK Capital, the investment arm of Grace Kennedy. And so I'm new to the company. I've been here a year. And when I first joined, I would hear Mr. Webby and the CEO say that whatever is good for Jamaica is good for Grace Kennedy. And I believe our participation in the National Business Model Competition from very early suggests that we believe this is great for Jamaica. So on behalf of us, I'd like to say congratulations to all the participants. And I must admit that I'm even a bit intimidated being up here because when I was your age, the last thing on my mind was business. In fact, I was a bit of an idler, so if you ever need to know that there's hope, if you feel like you're a bit behind, I'm an example of that. But really and truly, I just want to emphasize again that it's not really about who wins And I use an example of Google. That was the 6th search engine. And you can imagine the entrepreneur saying that, boy, we'd have lost out to Yahoo and all the others, eh? But today, Google could buy all of their competitors or buy or have bought. So it's an encouragement to all of you that you're all winners, and additionally, to not forget that one day soon you may be in the position to buy somebody. Speaking of one day soon, I'll say that, and I'll close with this, that when that one day soon comes and you're thinking about the next step, that to give us a check or a consideration, we'll even let Panjam in on the deal, so don't worry about it. And, we'd really love to participate with you and continue doing what's great for Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I'll now invite Melanie Subrati, chairman of Musson Foundation, to make a few remarks.
It is with great pleasure that I stand here today addressing the finalists of the 2019 National Business Model Competition on behalf of the Musson Foundation. You all represented yourselves, family, and schools excellently, I hear, and should be proud of what you have achieved, no matter the outcome of today's awards ceremony. For 3 years running, the Musson Foundation has pledged its support to the business model competition, not because of the optics, but because we truly believe in the inherent value the competition brings to both the participants and to Jamaica as a whole. It is no secret that this country has some truly incredible young minds, and over the years, the business model competition has done an excellent job of creating a much-needed platform for them to showcase their creativity and talent while receiving the recognition they deserve. Many former participants have gone on to compete and perform excellently at the international level, while others have even launched successful businesses. Each year, the business model competition changes countless lives and makes a real impact on the development of our country. The organizers should be applauded for their fine work. Entrepreneurship is the lifeblood of economic growth. Jamaica's transition to a developed country status will not be achieved through, as I think I've heard recently, official development assistance or foreign direct investment, but rather through the growth of local businesses, industries, and sectors. When discussing the future of our country, we should not be looking externally for salvation, but instead at how we can leverage the greatest asset we have, our people. It is therefore essential for the private and public sectors to continue supporting initiatives such as this, where entrepreneurial drive and innovation are recognized, encouraged, and nurtured. I would like to extend my congratulations to all of today's finalists. You've worked hard and deserve all the success that your future undoubtedly holds. However, to those who did not place in the finals or did not win, I urge you not to give up. This is not a failure, but rather an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and strengthen your concepts. The annals of history are filled with great people who have failed countless times, but did not give up, and I expect that you too will find success if you remain dedicated. If this competition is anything to go by, Jamaica has a bright future ahead. You've all made us proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melanie. And last but not least, I'm going to ask Casey Johnson-Vaughan, Scotiabank, to give her remarks.
It is really a wonderful day. Just looking around the room, I feel a little excited. I'm sorry that I missed all of the excitement, but my colleague who was here yesterday, Avril Leons, mentioned about how creative and innovative the ideas were from the young people. And I remember every year I'm normally here to see what's happening and looking at the diverse canvases, etc. Sorry I missed it, but I heard it was great. And again, congratulations to every single one of you, because I know it was hard work and you did well. You should clap yourself, please. Yeah. Excellent. So, at Scotiabank, we're very big on supporting SMEs. And of course, we would definitely not come back on board this year, but we had to be on board with DBJ to ensure that one of our mandate is to support the development of Jamaica. And what we recognize and see more and more is that youths, they are becoming very focused on not just academics, but also excelling themselves and being more open to business. It is used to be in the past where you graduated from high school, you have your good grades, and you were guaranteed a job. That's no longer the case. The world has changed, it's becoming very dynamic. In fact, business now, you can just stay on your phone and do business. So we're recognizing that there's been a game change in the whole atmosphere of doing job and of doing work, and it's even more difficult of getting a job. So what's the best thing to do? Have some innovative ideas and create your own opportunities. And so we've seen students now turning to that and ensuring that they've owned their skills and becoming very talented at these various activities. And with all of this, they learn some skill sets like problem solving, being flexible, being adaptable, and of course, being resilient. And so youth development is also one of the reasons why Scotiabank, we continue to support and get involved, because we recognize the importance of entrepreneurship to the development of our country. And we see it like the micro and the small enterprises. Every day we see how they've worked very hard, and you see how much they've contributed to us. And so we just want to say congratulations, DBJ, to all the participants. At Scotiabank, you know, we have our own program that we try to support the development. It's called the Scotiabank Vision Achievers, where we actually support 25 SMEs to make sure that, and DBJ also has been one of our partners for the last 4 or 5 years for that program, where we provide them with capacity building training to ensure that, you know, they move their business from one stage to another. And I can tell you, just being in charge of the program for the last 4 years, nobody who graduates from the program remains the same. They change as an individual and as an organization. And so even one of the very participants who was also in this competition in 2015, they won, Herbu Enterprise was one of the Vision Achiever in our own program, yeah? And we continue to work and support Herbu. We also, right now, we're supporting Jampro, Export Max, with repositioning 50 exporters or SME companies so that they can become better and ensure that their products can be marketed internationally. And so these are just a few things to show you how we are committed at Scotiabank in supporting the SMEs. So again, we just want to tell you, thank you, DBJ, well done, students, and we wish you all the very best. You're all winners. So whoever is number 1, 2, or 3, it doesn't matter. You are all winners because you already came up with some great ideas. And of course, let's see who this evening will take over the trophy. Is it NCU? Is it UII? Is it UTech? Oh, okay. I know that they're coming with vengeance because last year Dawn came in full stride, you know, that she's coming for NCU. And we saw what happened last year. So let's see if NCU is going to come back and retake their claim, or UTech will now take over. Ladies and gentlemen, Edna Mani. Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I'm so sorry, Edna Mani. But every year, you know, it gets better and better. So Edna Mani, let me hear it for you. Wonderful. So ladies and gentlemen, all the best. Thank you very much, and have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
So just before we get to asking Mr. Reynolds to give the official welcome and to hear from the minister, I'm just going to ask our presenters to make some presentations to our very, very, very hardworking coordinators. So Mossen and Melanie, I'm going to invite you back up here. Mossen has given us some gift packages for our coordinators. So I'm going to invite Laura Lee Jones from Edna Manley, Hazel O'Connor from NCU, Ashley Rose Davis from UII, and Dr. Carol Nathan from UTech to come forward. I'm now going to ask our judges, both the judges from the semifinals and the finals, to come forward. I know not everybody is here, but Marcia Reed Grant, Everton Brand, Omar Cheddar, Paul Chin, Dr. Paul Golding, Adriana Lavalle, Avril Leonce, Andrea Livingston Prince, Marlene Senior, Sandra Samuels, Dale Seaton, Althea Westmaz, Wayne Beecher, and Douglas Robinson. I'm going to ask our representative from NCB, and I believe that is Anna White, who will be making the presentations. And we have one last set of presentations, which is the certificates. And I'm going to ask the founders from each, I think it's each university, the founders, to come forward to receive the certificates, the packages for your universities. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to ask you to join me in welcoming Mr. Milverton Reynolds to give the official welcome and to make his remarks. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds.
On behalf of my chairman, the management, and the staff of the Development Bank of Jamaica, I want to thank you all for taking the time out to be here with us this afternoon. And I want to say a special thank you to the minister for being here. The minister has had, as you can imagine, an extraordinarily hectic, and if I might say, successful week. So for him to be here with us this afternoon is really very special. And I want you all to give him another welcome again. Yes. So I want to thank you all for being here as we support our students at this award presentation of the 2019 National Business Model Competition. Annually, we at the DBJ, and in particular the Venture Capital Unit, joined with the private sector organization of Jamaica, who is represented here by their CEO today, to craft and plan for this competition. Today is the culmination of months of hard work by all the parties. You've heard that being mentioned already. The coordinators, advisors, and most of all, our students. They have been engaged in ideations, pivots, testing of hypotheses, the talking to customers and prospective customers, financial modeling, customer segmentations, distribution channel, among other things. But you know, that is not all, because in addition to all of that, these students still have to attend classes, they have to do their research and assignments and write exams, and they have done very well. This, ladies and gentlemen, is no small feat, and I think that they should be applauded. They have found a way to balance work, study, and their own personal life. And you know, these are the attributes of good management and leadership, and should hold them in good stead as future leaders of our country. And so, students, I applaud you, and I encourage you to keep at it. The hallmark of a true entrepreneur is that you never give up, you think outside the box, you take action when others hesitate, you think big when others don't, sacrifice when others won't, dream of greatness when others fear it, take criticism and negativity and use it to fuel your greatness. Today's sacrifice, the dedication, the commitment, and the discipline will pay off for a far better tomorrow. We've been with this competition now for the last 6 years, and I think it is fair to say that the National Business Model Competition is a part of the DBJ's DNA. In fact, you know, the decision to embark on this initiative is set against the background of the technical cooperation agreement that we have with our great partner, the Inter-American Development Bank, the IDB Multilateral Investment Fund, then now rebranded as the IDB Lab, for the development of a vibrant and sustained entrepreneurial and early stage ecosystem in Jamaica. We shopped the idea with our partners, PSOJ, Panjam Investments, the NCB Foundation, GK Capital Management, Mussons Foundation, Scotiabank, Sagicor, and Petrocarib, and they responded exceptionally. And I really want you to give our sponsors again truly deserve a round of applause. They have really been very good. We have a deep and abiding relationship with our sponsors. Our partnership has continued, and our bond continues to be just as strong. Indeed, I would say even stronger now. We all share the vision to ensure that Jamaica's young leaders are provided with the foundation to grow and develop to their full potential. It is through the generosity and commitment of these companies that we have managed to bring student entrepreneurship to the forefront of the nation's agenda. And again, we thank them wholeheartedly for their support. Our success over these past 5 years, both local and international, has been phenomenal. In 2014, the first year of the NBC competition, we placed 8th in the world. In 2015, we reached the semifinals. In 2016, we placed 6th in the world and we got an honorary mention. In 2017, we placed 4th in the world. In 2018, we placed 1st and 2nd in the world. Yes. And we had a 3rd team in the top 10. This is an exceptional accomplishment, and we must continue to lend our support, financial and technical, to our future leaders. And ladies and gentlemen, I can assure you that the DBJ, and I hope I can speak on behalf of the POJ as well, we are fully committed to this. I want to pause and to just speak very briefly of the role of the universities in enabling this entrepreneurial spirit. Our campuses are fertile ground for startups. This is where the seed stages of many new and innovative businesses are developed. Universities play a key role in unearthing innovation, and this has been evident here in our local universities as well as globally. It is not by accident that centers of innovation and entrepreneurship, such as Silicon Valley, Boston, have developed near major universities. Transforming ideas, research, and innovation into viable business models depends upon having the support of mentors, coaches, incubators, as well as sources of funding. At the DBJ, we have spoken on several occasions about the work we are doing to develop the venture capital and private equity markets in Jamaica. And in doing so, we are looking at infrastructure issues such as the legal framework and encouraging the availability of capital through venture capital funds and angel investors. However, we will never have a viable venture capital market until all the components work together: the funding, the entrepreneurship, and the infrastructure. We view the universities as a key part of the venture capital ecosystem, which requires our support to transform ideas into viable businesses. And so we have made a concerted effort to build the capacity of our university incubators through a technical assistance and funding program that will put them on the road to transforming their operations into first world facilities. Allow me just a couple minutes at this stage to talk about some of the other work that we're doing at the DBJ very briefly in facilitating economic growth for Jamaica and Jamaicans as it relates to the MSME sectors. Our performance for the financial year to date from April to January of this year shows that certainly in the area of financing for SMEs, we have provided some $4.4 billion in loans, which has created investment of some $5.3 billion across all MSME sectors. In terms of capacity development and technical assistance, the DBJ has provided support to over 1,400 MSMEs through our Voucher for Technical Assistance program in 20 different business areas in which they have needed to be supported. In equity financing, we have invested $1 million in a new fund. You would have heard about this, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy Fund, currently building out the 37 megawatt solar panel farm in Sablamar, Westmoreland. Two other funds, the Caribbean Mezzanine and Cygnus, in which we have invested some 19 million US dollars in Jamaican businesses. Our angel investor network has been mobilized to date, have funded 12 entrepreneur SMEs to the tune of 175 million Jamaican dollars. And as was mentioned before, interestingly, our first national business model competition winner, Herbu, recently received angel investments. These, ladies and gentlemen, are cumulative figures and shows the work that we have been doing in this particular area. I want to just end by talking a little bit about our privatization and public-private partnerships program, which, as you all well know, is well established. And in recent times, you've seen the divestments of the Caymanas Track Limited, and more recently, the Norman Manley International Airport, which was a very, very successful divestment. But the divestment that is currently holding everyone's interest, of course, is the Wigton Wind Farm, which is slated to be listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange in April of this year. And this is a deliberate strategy, and I'm sure Minister Clark might say something about this when he comes to speak. It's part of the government's mandate to allow all Jamaicans to participate in the broad-based ownership of the assets of this country. And I'm mentioning this here because this is an opportunity for ordinary Jamaicans, people like ourselves here, including students like yourselves, that will be able to take up, and I would encourage you to look out for this when this IPO becomes available, to purchase shares in this IPO. We at the DBJ continue to be committed, and we are focused in doing all that we can to build and grow Jamaica's entrepreneurial ecosystem. And so, in closing, I would like you to join me in celebrating our students, our coordinators, and indeed the future of the NBMC and Jamaica as a whole. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are very appreciative of Minister Clark agreeing to spend some time with us this afternoon, given his very exceedingly busy schedule. As you all know, it's budget time. And for that, Minister Clark has been given a new name, but I'm sure he'll tell you what that name is when he comes up. So the Honorable Nigel Clark, MP, is Jamaica's Minister of Finance and the Public Service, and is a Member of Parliament for St. Andrew Northwestern. He has served as Ambassador of Economic Affairs, where he represented Jamaica's interests with multilateral institutions, and as a senator in the upper house of the Jamaican Parliament between 2013 and 2015. Minister Clark's public sector career includes service over various periods as chairman of the NHT, chairman of the Port Authority of Jamaica, chairman of the Heart Trust, and director of the Bank of Jamaica. Minister Clark has had an extensive private sector career in business and finance locally, regionally, and internationally. He has served as vice chairman of the Musson Group and as chairman, vice chairman, or non-executive director of several companies listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Minister Clark has also been an active social entrepreneur, where he's a founding chairman of the National Youth Orchestra of Jamaica, an NGO that operates music for social change programs at 8 centers in Kingston and Spanish Town. Minister Clark is a recipient of the PSOJ's 50 Under 50 Business Leader Awards, as well as the Kiwanis Community Service. Now, Minister, as I said, we're very happy that you're able to fit us into your busy schedule. When we invited you, though, we may not have indicated that the NBMC is not just a competition, but you have some serious entrepreneurs here. You have some of them are serial entrepreneurs on their second, third. I don't know, maybe there's even one who's on his fourth business. So, but one thing that they have all in common is that they're all faced with a gap we recognize in the ecosystem, which is a gap to support innovators as they try to get traction for their product or service. So we're not setting you up, Minister, but I have to tell you, they're hungry. They're hungry for what you have to tell them. So, Minister, I see you're not dressed in red or on a sleigh or carrying a long bag. And it's not yet December 25th, but expectations are high, and I know you're agile and that you'll deliver. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Minister Clark, Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark.
It is a pleasure to be here at the award ceremony for the National Business Model Competition, because what you are about represents a major thrust of the government. I have heard about the success of this program in the past and about Herbu in particular, and the fact that Herbu has markets now in Cayman and in Jamaica and in Japan and 10 distribution outlets throughout Jamaica. Is Herbu here? No. I mean, that's a fun. And Natisma Nutraceuticals in 2016, and Natisma that has an all-natural solution for asthma, which is very impressive. And the fact that the finalists or the winners last year won on the national level or on the international level at the World Business Model Competition. That's just fantastic. And I sort of congratulate the Development Bank of Jamaica and your partners in having this competition. The National Business Competition promotes a lot of values that are important to Jamaica. It promotes entrepreneurial values, it promotes teamwork among young people, and it promotes the idea that we can create the world we want to live in, which is of crucial importance. The Jamaica that is emerging, the Prime Minister speaks of a new Jamaica. The Jamaica that is emerging is a Jamaica of opportunity, a Jamaica of economic opportunity for all, and in particular, economic opportunity for young people who want to go into business. Because as previous speakers have mentioned, Jamaica will not be able to achieve its potential without persons venturing out, taking a risk, starting a business, providing a good or a service, hiring people, growing and prospering. That is the foundation of every country that is successful. At the end of it, businesses that are on the starting side of the spectrum, small businesses, account for the vast majority of people who are employed in any country. They account for the vast amount of economic activity. So if we're interested in employment growth, or if we're interested in the growth of the economy, we have to be interested in the percolation, in the bubbling up that happens with small business activity and micro business activity and the starting of new ventures. Now, all successful entrepreneurial activity seeks to provide some good or some service at a cheaper cost or in a new way that delivers value. At the end of the day, that's what it is about. Doing something that provides either a new service or provides a service in a different way at a different price point, and that takes advantage of changes in culture, changes in technology, changes in supply chain and costs and so forth. And the entrepreneurial talent that exists in Jamaica is not limited to any section of Jamaica. It's not limited to Kingston or to Montego Bay or to Portland or to Westmoreland. It's distributed across the country. And so if we are interested in the growth of small businesses to become medium and large businesses, and we identify that that pattern is very important for the success of Jamaica, then we have to be interested in supporting, in first of all, ferreting or discovering wherever this talent may exist and having an ecosystem through which it can find support. Without that, we will not be able to achieve our objectives. Because the market economy that we have, for it to function effectively, it has to be dynamic. No one knows in advance where the talent is. It's not the son of this or the daughter of this by definition that's where it lies. It's out there in Jamaica, in the hills or in the valleys, by the sea or by the river. Entrepreneurial talent that's going to take us forward is in Jamaica in a way that you can't pre-identify. And because you can't pre-identify it, we have to make sure that the systems are in place for that talent to emerge, and when it emerges, for it to be able to attract and find support. For that reason, we have put in place a set of policies that are geared towards encouraging the bubbling up of small business, that are geared towards encouraging small and micro businesses to emerge and to thrive. You'll have heard in the budget presentation that we abolish the minimum business tax, which is a burden, has been an unnecessary burden on micro businesses. We abolish the asset tax for non-financial businesses. Before that, when a business is formed, even before it makes the first cent of profit, it would have had to pay money to the government. And that is not in keeping with an entrepreneurial environment and an entrepreneurial space where you want to have the government earn revenue as the business grows. And we also raise the threshold of GCT from 3 million to 10 million, which means lots of entrepreneurs out there, whether they be persons who have started hairdresser parlors or barber shops, or they are mechanics, or they're caterers, or whatever profession they may be in. The complexities associated with computing and filing GCT returns are delayed until they've reached a certain size and scale. And we believe that these measures will remove some of the fiscal obstacles to small business growth and to small business success. In addition to that, we know that financing is the oxygen of business, right? Without financing, business can't succeed. And as a result, we have, for the upcoming financial year, put in place avenues through which small and medium-sized and micro businesses can find financial support. We have programs through the Development Bank of Jamaica and directly through the Ministry of Finance to provide financial support, whether it be by way of loans or by way of collateral support, i.e. providing guarantees to companies who don't have collateral to enable them to borrow from financial institutions. And for the first time in a long time, we've made a direct allocation from the Ministry of Finance's budget for micro businesses, i.e. businesses with revenues less than $10 million. And we believe that by providing these avenues of financial support, that small businesses will have the oxygen that they need. But debt is just one means of financing a business, especially for businesses that are starting. Equity is often preferable, even though equity is more expensive because you're giving up ownership, right? But it spreads the risk. And it means that your repayment obligations don't begin until you have gotten off your feet. And to have the economy that we want, and given what we said earlier about the distribution of entrepreneurial talent not being such that we can foresee it, because it does not, it, like any other sort of talent, it's not necessarily handed, it's, what's the word I want to use? It is independent. It pops up where you least expect it, right? So we have to ensure that we have pools of funds available by which good ideas can attract equity financing. As a result of that, we want to complement the efforts that are already underway in the private sector, where these angel networks exist in Kingston, they exist in Montego Bay, they exist in other parts of Jamaica, where persons who have investable resources that they can take high risk on, screen investment opportunities, and provide equity dollars to ideas that are still on the drawing board, i.e. the riskiest stage of investing in a company. And that's typically called angel investing. And we intend to supplement, to complement the private angel networks that exist in Jamaica by saying to them, look, the government does not have the means to do the screening and to do the analysis that determines which entities get support. But what we're going to do is we're going to piggyback on your analysis, and wherever you put angel support, the government will match it. We are setting aside $200 million to do this, and what it means is that the angel resources in Jamaica would be multiplied, because we will be matching what private individuals are already doing, and thereby giving support to this very crucial part of the ecosystem on the early stage side. Now, providing the oxygen is important by way of financing, but we also need to do more. So we're dealing with the fiscal costs as far as the taxation structure is concerned. We're dealing with the financing as far as debt financing is concerned, collateral support is concerned, and angel investing is concerned. But we need to also address other things. And before I go to some of those things, I want to back up a bit. In our imagination, we need a redefinition of what the words private sector means. Private sector is just the opposite of the public sector, right? Private sector is the complement of the public sector. So the mechanic usually, unless he works with JUTC, usually works in the private sector. The hairdresser is in the private sector. The person who takes photographs, right, the videographer, usually in the private sector. In fact, of the 1.25 million people employed in Jamaica, over 90% of them work in the private sector. Central government is about 8%, just over 100,000, thereabouts. And then The public bodies are probably another 13, 14,000. So altogether, the public sector, central government plus public bodies, are less than 10% or about 10%, give or take, of the employed labor force. So the vast majority of persons in Jamaica work in the private sector. So when we say that the private sector is the engine of growth, it becomes obvious when I put the numbers in that way, right? And for it to be the engine of growth, we have to make sure that government policy is consistent with that. Now, one of the challenges that we have had in Jamaica is that the government has such a huge footprint on the economy. And, the government will never be the engine of growth by definition of how it functions. And when you put central government revenues together with public body revenues, so central government revenues, 560 odd billion or thereabouts, 26% or thereabouts, roughly speaking, of GDP, and then you add to it the revenues of the public bodies, the big public bodies are NHT and Petrojam and so forth, you'll see that government revenues are almost half of the economy, even though persons associated with employment with the public and central government are a small minority of the economy. So the challenge that Jamaica has had is that the productive sectors have not been growing as fast as they ought. And the only way to do it is by having persons like yourself who are leaving university, leaving school, to consider an entrepreneurial path as a real possibility. And so for that reason, this National Business Model Competition serves as a testing ground and a preparation ground for what you're likely to encounter on this entrepreneurial path that I hope that you will pursue. There is no better time to have an entrepreneurial venture than when you are young. Before you settle down with woman, before you get man, before you have picnic, right? Yes. This is the time to take risk. Yeah? You're unlikely to take that kind of risk when the child is in, high school about to go to university. Unlikely. A lot of people do it, but you're unlikely to. So now is the time. And the skills that you are learning in college or in university, and the knowledge that you're gaining, and the environment that we have today, which is an environment, I dare say, of great economic opportunity, the likes of which we have not seen in Jamaica in decades, is one that I would encourage you to take advantage of. So what if it doesn't work? Right? So what if it doesn't work? One of the things that we intend to address, apart from providing oxygen in the form of debt financing and equity financing and dealing with the taxes and so on, is the culture around entrepreneurship. Because the culture around entrepreneurship should be one that, there's no such thing as failure. It just means that, you go, again, it's the flip side of success. In fact, as I've mentioned elsewhere, some of the more successful persons have only become successful after several failures. Dennis O'Brien, who has come to the Caribbean and has done exceptionally well, in his autobiography or his biography, he talks about borrowing in his $500,000 from friends and family. In his case, it could have been euros. And the project went belly up. The investors lost all of their money. If he had kind of said, oh my God, whoa, it means I'm not meant to do this. I should pack up shop and go back to school. you wouldn't have Digicel. Oprah Winfrey was a miserable failure prior to becoming Oprah Winfrey. And the list goes on. There are lots of examples locally, but I prefer them to call themselves out. But it's just a fact of life, right? So fear of failure should not be an inhibitor. We want you to go out there, to take risk, to promote your ideas, and we are providing you with the environment, or the best possible environment for you to do so. And it's likely to work. Yeah. And your idea is likely to work, but if it doesn't work, then you just go again. You just go again. Yeah? Because the Jamaica that we're building is one that is going to be dependent on your energy. All right? We are dependent on you and on your energy for the Jamaica that we have to thrive. So I want to wish you every success. I didn't get a chance. This is, right, so we have our winner. We're going to announce our winner shortly. Right, okay. So I don't want to stand in the way of that. I can't, you should have told me that. I mean, I can't stand in the way of you and those trophies over there. That's a dangerous position to be in. Yeah? Very dangerous. But let me congratulate you for entering and for the obvious energy that you'd have displayed and for the strength of your ideas. There are no losers here today. No losers at all. Everyone, in terms of what is the real benefit of an exercise like this, the real benefit is intangible. It's not in the trophies. The real benefit is what you would have gone through, the preparation that you would have been exposed to. Yeah? That is the real benefit, which everyone has gotten. So allow me to congratulate you and to wish you best of luck. And I look forward to seeing how many businesses here now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 100 businesses being started coming from this group of people. Thank you very much.
GK Capital Management would like to recognize, I think we recognized our coordinators, and there's a lot of support that is given within the university, so some of our other coordinators, as well as to the competition. So I'm going to ask Ryan Strong to come up, and I would like for the following persons to join me on stage. Don Morgan from UWI, Simone Scott Rowan, UTEC, Andrew Carty, NCU, Douglas Lindo, our national coach, Novlet Cook, our coordinators, Frederick Mills and Johnny Score. So thank you very much, Ryan. Thank you very much to the support that has been given to our coordinators. So the moment we've all been waiting on, the hard work that you've all put in over the last few months. As Minister said, there are no losers here today. I think you have all won. You have all been able to make it to the finals, whether the finals within your university or the national finals, you're all winners. And I think you need to congratulate yourselves. And as Minister said, I would urge each and every one of you, we want to see what, 100 businesses coming out of it. Every one of you you've been given the tools to go forward with this business or to pivot to a new business. Yeah, I'm sure your creativity will take you many, many places. So in fourth place, hailing from UTEC, is Zermosol. And our fourth place winner gets a check for $200,000. Congratulations, Zermasa. And in third place, hailing from UWI, is Prelabs. Please give them a big round of applause. And our third place winners receive a check for $500,000. Second place, ladies and gentlemen, and can we get that drum roll? In second place, hailing from the cool hills of Mandeville, is Redraft from NCU. And our second place winners receive a check for $1 million. The winner of the 2019 National Business Model Competition is JA Bioplastics.
DJ Bravo, DJ Bravo, DJ Bravo, DJ